That sounds great. And Jody, thanks very much for seeing us today.
I'm here in Building 4200 with Jonathan Pettus, Marshall's Chief Information Officer. And Jonathan, when we think about what your organization does, we think about computers and email systems, but you guys actually have your hands in a lot of things here at Marshall.
We do. We do those things that you mentioned. We have over 12,000 computers or desktop systems that are used by practically all the employees here at Marshall Space Flight Center in their daily jobs. We're responsible for the local area network that connects all those computers together so that employees can collaborate and communicate with one another. But we're also responsible for some other services that are very important to the center. For example, what we call application services, which are really software systems that run on those computers that accomplish various kinds of processes for different kinds of employees, different people here in different areas. For example, software solutions that support the financial management process here at the center, budgeting, project management solutions, and also engineering type solutions. We have actually over 13 million lines of code in all these software systems that we support. Things like in the engineering area that I mentioned, systems that capture the requirements for flight vehicles that we're developing, launch systems that we're developing, systems that are used by our engineers to design those particular solutions. We have application developers or programmers who support scientists in things like lightning detection systems. So it's really an integral part of how the work gets done here at the center.
And you also work on things agency-wide.
We do, and a lot of people are not familiar with those services that we provide here, but from Huntsville here at Marshall Space Flight Center, we provide all the wide area network services that are used to connect the centers together. And so employees all across the agency who are working together to collaborate, to work together on NASA's mission are using that wide area network when they're using their IT systems. Also, we provide a set of business applications that the agency uses to manage its finances, to manage its procurement and acquisition processes. Those systems were implemented and are managed here out of Marshall.
And you also mentioned the IT systems, but you guys protect our information here at Marshall with that, right?
We do, and that's a major focus area for us today. There's a lot of visibility on how well we protect our information from the federal government across the board. Here at Marshall, we really are focusing on how to ensure that people understand the kinds of information that they store and use in their systems and what are the appropriate mechanisms to protect that information. And we actually do a lot in terms of safeguarding our information as far as threats that may come into the center. We have a facility where we monitor all of the potential threats that can occur from an external perspective into our center.
Well, can we go check that out?
You can.
And I did finish my IT security training, just so we all know.
We're in Building 4629 and are joined by David Black, who's the manager of IT security here at Marshall, and he's giving us a behind-the-scenes look, starting with, well, this room. What goes on here?
This is the Information Mission Control Center for the agency. We monitor the entire wide area network for security issues that might be happening at the various centers. If something is identified that may be a security threat, then this room here will notify the IT security manager at that center so that we can take action. If we're notified of a threat here at Marshall, then as the IT security manager, our incident response team here will respond, analyze the threat, and decide what needs to be done to protect the center and be sure that all the resources here are properly protected.
Let's start with what kind of things you look for here.
Well, they're looking for any kind of traffic that would indicate some type of problem either on the internal network or from the outside. It could be an outsider threat trying to get in and break in and get access to some of our systems, unauthorized access. It could be a policy violation by some user on our network doing some type of activity that's prohibited and therefore will indicate on our sensors here that it's against policy, and we'll have to take action based on that. If it ends up being a policy violation, then a lot of times we'll have to do computer forensics on those boxes to see exactly what happened, document it, and see what kind of recovery needs to be done and any improvements in security to prevent that from happening again.
Well, you touched on something that I think we need to follow up on next, is that IT security is more than what happens in this room. What other types of things do you guys work on?
That's correct. The stuff that happens in this room is mostly reactionary, in other words, after the fact. We do the entire program here at the Center for IT Security covers from the beginning when you're creating a new IT system, what type of information you're going to have on it. We assist in figuring out what type of security you need to protect that information, all the way to authorizing that system to operate. At that point, we provide other services like being sure that the patches are properly installed on those systems. We have metrics that we track in all areas of the program to be sure that our program is effective. We coordinate audits and assessments to ensure that the program is being effective and healthy at the center and across the agency. And of course we do IT security training too, and that includes the annual IT security awareness training that's mandatory that Lori mentioned earlier, I think.
Yeah, and I have to take mine, but how did Lori do on that, in fact?
Well, I was looking at that, Bill, and she actually didn't do too well. I'm not sure we're going to be able to pass her with these scores.
Well, Bill, that motor test at night was just incredible.
And I didn't know the Office of the CIO covered so many different areas, but we'll be visiting more of those areas in future editions of the program.
But, hey, what did he say about my test?
We'll see you next time as we focus on Marshall. I can't tell you.
Tell me.
No, I can't tell you.
Why?
But he does want you to see him in his office.
Oh.
Yeah, I think.